Sonia Poulton and today's News Talk, TNT.
And hello, how are you? Hello, glorious people. Wonderful to be back with you, of course. Welcome to the Sonia Poulton Show on today's News Talk TNT. You can find us on all platforms, including YouTube, Rumble, and of course, right here on TNT. Thank you as ever for getting in touch. I always appreciate that. I'm sorry I'm a little bit behind with my emails at the moment, but I am rushing to catch up. You can contact me at Sonia Poulton at tntradio.live. And how are you all in the chat this morning? Hope you're alive and kicking. Of course you are. The other week, I mentioned the online acrimony that was existing between MP Andrew Bridgen and his estranged wife, Navina. I felt that it was about more than just gossip and tittle-tattle, and I said so at the time. Well, from what I witnessed yesterday, I was right. Do like to be right. For Navina Bridge, she has become a pawn in a particularly nasty game. She's almost like a stooge now for Rupert Murdoch. She allowed herself to be used by one of his minions for a hit piece in the Sunday Times newspaper. And it was really all about demonizing people like me, possibly people like you, who have dared to question the experimental mRNA jab. In the piece, Navina Bridgen claimed that her husband had been taken over by an anti-vax cult. She said, quote, "The anti-vax conspiracy theorist movement destroyed my life when Andrew became their foot soldier." Really? David Nolan at Stop Common Pass, who's a friend of this show and has been on with me before, summed it up very well. He wrote, "This is a deliberate hit piece by The Times, where they've taken the personal affairs of two people and framed it to alter the public perception that anti-vax are an extremist group radicalizing MPs such as Bridgen. Notice the timing after Sunak's Friday evening spiel. Indeed, Mrs. Bridgen claimed her life had been torn apart by a sect. Lots of interesting buzzwords going on here. She claimed that they had taken over her husband, making him believe he needed to get rid of her, as she did not fully align with his extremist beliefs." Oh my God, this is literally like a textbook, isn't it? This is a textbook of demonizing people who dare to question official narratives. She said he initially began to warn that no healthy children should be vaccinated, but this progressed to him saying that nobody should be vaccinated by the experimental jab. She said, and to quote, "I felt like I was in the Matrix film and that he was telling me he was the chosen one. Except this is not a blockbuster movie. This is my life." She blames the Conservative Party for apparently not dealing with his radicalization. She said they didn't pick up the early signs of indoctrination and radicalization. The way they dealt with him was to cancel him. And that was the moment it opened the doors for all these people to come in. Huh. Dear me. Well, this is all really odd, given that only a few short months ago, Navina Bridgen was on X, absolutely supporting her husband's new fight against the experimental jabs. But, you know, acrimony does a very strange thing, doesn't it? Yesterday, as I say, she was in the Sunday Times. She was also on Twitter. She tweeted extensively from the piece. And she said that they had separated before Christmas, that Andrew Bridgen had made her and their child homeless. She claims that he left her without any money. These are all her claims, by the way, not his. And she said she had to loan money from her sister in order to be able to pay for her London flat. And then she did something else that is absolutely astonishing for an MP's wife. She launched a GoFundMe. Yes, that's right. She launched a GoFundMe. She said, "Please help us to recover from this tragedy." I mean, I do appreciate that English is this lady's second language. She's Serbian, but these are really unfortunate expressions. A tragedy is people dying from the experimental mRNA jab. A tragedy is not somebody who's got a sister who's able to pay in advance a year's rent in advance for a London flat. That's not a tragedy, right? So it seems to me that it's fairly obvious that her new role in this show is to pretend that conspiracy theories destroy lives and should be avoided at all costs, that we are the problem, that we've done some terrible things to her husband, etc., etc. Of course, it's a Rupert Murdoch narrative, and he and his outlets push the full COVID narrative. Yes, they did. So, you know, lots of questions. How can an MP's wife launch a GoFundMe in the first place? That takes a lot of temerity, doesn't it? It really does. And I believe that this is a distraction from more important issues. Remember, only just briefly after the issue with Hancock, Navina was on social media saying, I'm going to write a tell-all book about the sleaze and intimidation of the Conservative Party. This is my opinion, but it would appear that this is a woman with her eye on the main prize. And yeah, so she did this astonishing tweet. She did an astonishing GoFundMe, demonize, demonize, demonize. And as I say, it's all theatre. And I think Graham Kemp, good morning to you, Graham, summed it up perfectly. He said there is a clear intention to destroy whole anti-narrative campaigns by making it appear to depend on the credibility of one man, Andrew Bridgen. No campaign should depend on one individual. They always let you down in the end.